A widely used term in the field of film studies is a French term, and it's called mise-en-scène. It literally means putting into the scene. In the late 19th century, the term referred to theatrical design and arrangement of actors. Then, in the 1920s to the 1940s, its use was extended to cinematic art and practice. A description of this early film's mise-en-scène, for example, would involve the actors, their movements, their props within the setting. Mise-en-scène can be defined as all the elements that are placed in front of the camera, planned or even unplanned. It includes setting and props, costume and makeup, lighting, and acting and figure movement. Since the 1950s, reinforced by this influential French journal on cinema, mise-en-scène has been understood as the director's control of their film. This term emphasizes the creative decisions made by the film director. Mise-en-scène often functions for realism, like in this film, but it can also be configured for horror, comic exaggeration, fantasy, etc. A fundamental aspect of the director's craft is to shape the movement of various elements in the film, including actors, animals, objects, machines, etc. Indeed, the blocking and movement of actors and objects are central in the film's mise-en-scène. Some directors look for authentic replicas in a realistic setting, while others will stylize the decor to render a wider range of aesthetics, such as German Expressionism, as seen in this film's set design. The film director can shoot in a natural setting, such as an actual slum, or in a constructed studio set. The design of the setting shapes the spectator's understanding of the story. The setting establishes the geographical limits and possibilities of the narrative. It can immerse the actors within the milieu or the social environment. Initially, film settings were influenced by set design derived from the theater arts. Then, there was a greater appeal for natural locations, such as the streets and historical movements like Italian neorealism and French New Wave. Today, many films use computer-generated settings as part of their mise-en-scène. Costumes can convey authenticity, particularly in period films, or be more stylized to serve the demands of the film genre. Costume is often coordinated with a setting by similarity or contrast. Some actors, especially during the studio era, have turned their costumes into a panoply of props, for example, Charlie Chaplin's Derby. Through these distinctive objects, the audience can immediately identify the characters. Props, like guns in detective films, contribute to the narrative. This drain hole, for example, visually echoes the motif, which, in this film, alludes to its larger theme of voyeurism. Makeup can be used to make actors look like historical figures. It can accentuate or undermine expressive qualities of an actor's performance. Finally, makeup can be non-realistic, as in comedies, horror, or science fiction films. Observe the play of highlights and shadows in this shot, as the characters are poignantly brought together as one organic unit. Hard lighting casts a strong shadow that adds tension and edginess to the shot. On the other hand, soft lighting produces diffuse light with softer edged shadows. It results in a more realistic depiction of the moving image. Lighting can also be described as high-key or low-key. High-key lighting is free from dark shadows and is commonly used in comedies. Low-key lighting is characterized by a predominance of shadowy areas. This mysterious effect makes its use ideal for thrillers. The directionality of lighting also has cinematic consequences. The side lighting in the shot evokes an anxious and sinister mood. Here, backlighting produces an interesting graphic card effect, which is consistent with this film's overall style. Acting cooperates with other elements in the production process, such as camera movement, lighting, set design, and editing. The director may work with trained performers or with non-actors, like in this shot. Acting can be close to people's real-life behavior or be quite stylized. It is a product of the narrative, genre, actor's craft, and director's vision. Indeed, acting, together with setting and props, costume and makeup, and lighting, compose the overall mise-en-scène, which is ultimately the craft of the film director.